Weird science
is the revolution.
The Amazing Spider-Man, number 44. Gang War is over. Everybody can celebrate. Written by Zeb Wells, pencils by John Romita Jr., inks by Scott Hanna, colors by Marcelo Menez, letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. I think the art's a little better than that wonky art last issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not great, but it's not horrible. There weren't any times where I really like, oh my God, look at that. Like, we did that a lot last issue, but it's okay. It's just that the issue itself and this gang war nonsense was nothing. It was nothing. And when you get this, why does this keep happening in everything we read? And I'm not just saying in Marvel, I'm saying DC too, where they're pushing this big thing and you get to it and it's not worth it. And this is what makes me worried about Blood Hunt and all the, how many issues do you think of this whole event, including the tie-ins, that were like good? Like, I'm talking, like you said, man, this is one for the ages.
Maybe 2 or 3 at the
for the ages. No, it might have been good for the now, but yeah, there's
not for the ages now.
Like, just imagine you have an omnibus of this later. Like, who's going to read this? It just, and even then, the stakes will probably feel less, and there were no stakes.
We had fun talking about Luke Cage for a little bit.
Yeah, then he's in his mecha. I mean, you could tell some of the things we were having. Yeah, we were having a little bit of fun with them, but nothing mattered. So we ended up kind of dropping everything but Amazing Spider-Man for the most part. But we end up starting this issue where we left last issue off, and we'll kind of stay here for a while in Central Park, the big battle, but there's nothing really that nice with it, right? I'm saying nice. I'm saying clever or fun, or the big play here is that, oh my God, Tombstone, he double-crossed them. It's not even any bit of a surprise, right?
No, you shouldn't be surprised by that at all.
No, and so it just ends up where, you have to have everybody say something. So there's She-Hulk, like, oh man, I'm having problems over here. Hey, look at you, Spider-Woman. And that gets even worse by the end, but you end up having White Rabbit keeps asking about Janice. Now, we wanted to see if maybe Janice was straight up dead, but we're not going to know. We're going to have to wait.
They don't show her at all in this.
And Tombstone says, well, she left. I thought that was just like covering up that he straight up murdered her. But he says if she's smart enough, she won't come back. And then there's mentions later that, she just disappeared. But when you're reading this, especially going to talk about it here, it's just pretty much like everybody, I'm gonna punch you. And then you're going to punch me. Then I'm going to quip at you. And then we move to the next bunch of people. There's really nothing here. And you see there was never really any connection. The most connection, actually, I'll throw it out there, is Rabble and Miles. And that only is, oh, Rabble, I'll get you later. And then Spider-Boy, who shows up, says, hey, cool cloaking technology. So it's a big fight. We were talking about how this would probably be pretty quick. I think we're done. There's nothing
Luke Cage
on.
shows up and kicks some butt, I guess.
So what happens is everybody ends up being saved by somebody else or double-cross leave.
At the last second.
Yeah, at the last second, everybody just ends up, oh no, Tombstone double-crossed us. They just leave. Again, this is almost like the play Kingpin did earlier, where when you think, oh man, Tombstone, what is this going to mean? It meant that he was leaving. They skedaddled off, leaving the Spider-Man and his crew to fight Madame Mask and the AIM guys. But even then, like, it starts up the fight again to just have nothing happen because Luke Cage comes and saves. Spider-Man's getting just blasted left and right and left and right.
Oh, just getting his back burned up.
At one point, they're yelling, oh no, we have problems because She-Hulk is captured. And then Luke Cage comes in. Like, every time there's something going to go that felt like it was big.
I guess my major thing with this is I know it's Spider-Man, but everybody wants to kill him for some reason. And I'd rather see Madame Mask fighting Tombstone.
Yeah, like, she just lets him go.
Because that's who's the gang war is. It's not against Spider-Man.
Speaking of which, like, you see again where Zeb Wells he's horrible. He's horrible. This issue at points, and we'll get to some funny stuff in a minute, but it feels like it's written suddenly for a 6-year-old. Like, why did you have to dumb down what was already stupid? It is my big question, because it is ridiculous. Because all these characters come in, and then it's like, hey guys, here I am, Spider-Boy. And then you have them there. I love where you're going to throw some characters in that you never saw in Gang War, really. So what you do is put them on one panel together. Jackpot and Spider-Boy, it's the most irrelevant characters in the whole event, except for one. You know who the most irrelevant character was? Spider-Man. He does nothing again.
Just gets beat up.
He gets beat up. And even when you're in this fight, and the final battle here is not the final battle for Gang War. Somehow Gang War's been solved, and you have Tombstone leave. Now we're having, the battle for second place, but they're, let's get these Spider-Man gets knocked down, and you have these characters almost step over him like AI doing the step over going, we'll take care of this. And you're like, this is and even at the beginning we said, and we were talking before we started recording, you have this narration from Spider-Man. It's inner monologue, and it's horrible. And this is such a small thing, but please think to yourself what you think Spidey would think or say in big moments or something going on. Not in war, there is no time to think, but that's never stopped me before.
He would never say that.
When is there a point where somebody's like, oh man, I know what he's talking about there. Like that meant this or that. It's just narration because he has to write something there. It is not good. It shouldn't have been Spidey. You should have had an outside narrator. Me and you were talking about it. I said maybe it could have been Randy getting all the info everybody's and he's writing an article for something like that.
Yeah, it could have been J. Jonah Jameson. It could have been Robbie, his dad, Randy's dad, writing it.
He's usually a menace, like something like that.
I would love to see that. I'd be oh my God, that's J. Jonah talking about it.
Let's do this. Screw all this. It's the next episode of J. Jonah's podcast.
Even better.
The Threats and Menaces. It would be awesome. So yeah, you could have that. And even then, if you want to have some fun, because he doesn't seem like he wants to have fun, though he thinks he's a funny guy. Like have it where it's J. Jonah interviewing like some one of the Count Nefaria on the podcast, and they're having fights and whatever. But it's just nothing.
They should actually have a podcast that you can listen to in addition to this. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That. So you have this going on, and basically, fight. Let's go to. Silvermane. I think Spidey might be dead.
Oh,
and they're like, man, we can't kill him. The boss wants him, but how is he surviving this?
Just fire all over his back.
You see that one when he's laying on the ground and he's just like his
smoking
costume is on fire. Oh, it's bad. And you have again the narration crushing me. Gotta fight. No choice. Again, this feels like an after-school special mixed in with just like one of those. It's not Transformers. It's Transmorphers. It's like down the line. This is direct-to-video nonsense. So he's going to get up. And in the meantime, our favorite guy, Shotgun, he's
not even using a shotgun.
I know. Seriously. He's the guy who was he's the undercover agent but now he's shooting the sigils on Nefaria and Silvermane. How does that work?
He's freeing his former or fellow guys that got taken over.
And so before it was punching off what are these sigils that you shoot us? And now they realize, we were being taken care of. Like when Shotgun's like, peace out, baby. And he leaves. And then you have Nefaria. Oh no, my daughter, she done enslaved us. And Silvermane, I'll get her. They're done. Like these are the things, because then She-Hulk and Jackpot come in. But then you have the thing with Jackpot. You have a thing with Mary Jane where she's like, boom, 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 Jackpot. What happened?
Okay, so that's what I wanted to ask you. So you got Mary Jane in here. Does he know anything about her powers? Because that looks like a pretty freaking good Jackpot that she got. And what is her power that comes out of it? Nothing.
It looks like maybe
a light show?
Wave-O-Light is what I'd call it. Yeah. This looks like she gets all of the diamonds together.
She's as strong as the Century or the Hulk or something. This should
be all of a sudden she like hulks out. Or she ends up like becoming like I don't even know, like a cosmic entity. Nope, she shoots a wave of light that seems to be something that might be playing off of the that he thinks Count Nefaria is straight up just vampire, and he ends up getting the light. I don't know. That's why Jackpot sucks.
Yeah,
you don't know. You have to spell this out. And where you do this, and a lot of people even say, I said, Dial H. You have Dial H at DC. Mm-hmm. Kind of fun concept, but it's very random. You get the power. But when you do it, You have to do something. Play it out like a anime, a cartoon or something, and all of a sudden it's like ding, 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 ding. Super wave light. And then she does it. Just mention it. Say it or do something. But I don't know. I don't know what that is.
So it'd be 3 diamonds, wave of light power.
Yeah, but no. Like I'm even going My Hero Academia. They end up going to do their attacks. They just scream them out. It's goofy, but that works. They do it in everything. Every manga. They do it in Demon Slayer. All these big things. Just do it. Have this stupid device yell it out like some comic, announcer.
Or better yet, don't even include her doing anything.
Yeah, better yet, get that stupid thing off of her, kill Paul, and get things back to normal. That's
just
what I want.
Just smash Paul's computer that is messing with these things.
Over his head. And then again, and again. Like, I can imagine, send Silvermane's ass right there and start shooting Paul. I can imagine Paul's like, oh man, you did it. 3 diamonds. What does that mean, Paul? I don't know. I'm stupid. But then they're just going to try to get out. And all this again, Madame Mask, she's been taken down. One of her gauntlets got ripped off by Spidey last issue.
Yeah,
now this one, he jams it up. That's it.
Goos it up.
That's it. Like, that's all this going on. Goos it up. It explodes to knock her down. And then Rabble takes off, like she's Iron Man. Starts yelling. Spider-Boy's just there to yell random stuff.
Like, damn, some nice cloaking tech.
Nice cloak. And you end up, Miles is like, hey, don't compliment the villain, Spider-Boy. Oh, man, she's gone. It is pretty cool. So then you go and then, you have that line of Luke. Oh, man, these guys are going to need a good lawyer because this is all he kept doing with Jennifer. I'm not leaving my card. All right.
Yep.
Jerk. Yeah, and then Spider-Man, I love Spidey's just dragging Madame Mask.
And he's on fire.
Oh, yeah, we're not done. Then just out of nowhere, rando, you end up getting Danny Rand and Shang-Chi show up and go, hey, the karate guys are here. And then they're like, oh, man, we were fighting tanks. Where were you, She-Hulk? And She-Hulk goes, I didn't want to fight tanks. All right, let's move on. Then you have Elektra goes up to Spider-Woman. I think you're pretty cool. You should call me. I'll think on that. Like, don't ever call her. And then you have, hey, New York owes you Spidey. New York owes you Spidey. For what? Yeah. What did he do? I mean, the only thing he did really is allow Tombstone to win because he ended up helping him. That's it.
By befriending
him. That's all he did. Every other bit, he's on the ground. He's over here. He's doing stupid monologue. Yeah, but it's Spidey because it's the Spider. But this is where Zeb Wells finally goes, oh, crap. I'm writing Spider-Man. I better say, good job, Spidey. Yay. And then just boom, boom, boom. Now we find out and now this is where you said about the narration, where you could have had the overall thing even being Peter telling the story to Randy, and it would have but it wasn't played out like that.
It was just thought bubbles. That's all.
Yeah. So he's there with Randy. He's in the hospital. And he's like, hey, I love this, too, because it's such an aside. Fisk's Law has been repealed. Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, nobody went with it anyway until you made it a thing again. But, and he's there, hey. But all he has to say is the people understood that when this gang war went down, it wouldn't have happened if all of the heroes weren't actually considered outlaws. I said to you, we were talking before, and I said, it kind of goes with that whole, and I'm not going to get in any gun type of argument or whatever, but it is kind of reminding me of the idea, hey, we have a Fisk's Law. The villains aren't following it. They're going out full costume, blowing things up with their gizmos and gadgets. Well, we might as well let the heroes come back because we done messed up. And this gang war wouldn't have happened if we had more heroes involved. And that actually works in the play of where sometimes you'll sit there, where's Iron Man? Where's this? Where's Thor? Like, that's, you could play it that there's the law. But he says, no, people took to the streets. When? And then they said they saw the problem, they risked, they demanded action. Sound familiar? He's talking to Randy as he's passed out. And he's like, hey, it was all about you, Randy. Oh, my God. Even earlier at the big moment, the big heart-tugging moment was when Madame Mask is like, I hate you, Spider-Man. And Spider-Man, you shot my best friend. And she's like, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Get out of here. So Randy, through all this stuff.
She doesn't even remember doing that.
Yeah. And now Zeb Wells, he can't help himself. He's not funny. I don't care what anybody tells me. He's not. And yet now in a moment that should be, a little bit heartfelt, That's when he throws in the joke. He throws in the joke because Randy has already woken up from his coma, though nobody told Peter. So he wanted to punk him, and he's listening to him say all this to surprise him. And he just opens. It's the worst. He opens like, man, I can't take this anymore. I was going to punk you. And then next thing you know, I swear to God, somebody better get them another room.
Yeah.
They should get a motel.
They need to put that curtain up. I have George Costanza looking over in the other room.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I'm like, holy moly. Luckily, they're not in prison. This would have been a conjugal visit. I mean, he is going, oh, my God. The guy just got out of a coma.
Peter is 1 inch away from his face.
Peter is all over him. The thing is, I would have loved, because you do see some close-ups of their face. I'd love it if they pull out the camera at the end and we realize during this, Peter has actually slipped into bed with Randy there with him. Oh, my God. Has a gown on. Yeah. And it's like, oh, man. Then, hey, what about Janice? Nobody knows that. It has to get serious.
Yeah.
This goofy celebrate's so bad. So, yeah, there it is. You're supposed to believe at this moment, just like Spider-Man, like they say, Spider-Man, thank God you ended this gang war, Spider-Man. You did all the heavy lifting, right? He didn't. Randy's been in a coma, and yet we're supposed to believe he did start going around with them, but he hasn't been around. And you want to have to believe that he's the one who got the...
Yeah, he was in it for half a page.
So there you go. Everybody's taking credit or giving credit to the worst people right now. I'm surprised they're not like, oh, man, you know who won this whole thing? Silvermane. It's out of nowhere. So, or like something crazy, because me and you also said, we don't know what happened to the Heat.
They're still out there as far as I know.
Yeah, those one guys, and they're like, hey, Harlem says pull out. But that didn't feel like the Heat. The Heat were those cops and other guys that were fighting
Hell's Kitchen
Matt
area.
Murdock and things in Hell's Kitchen. I think that things got wonky because the Heat actually is like another fight. If Seb Wells wants to be funny, you end it and then have like you turn, there's actually a 1-page epilogue. The Heat has finally shown up. Where's this gag war? It's over.
That would be funny.
Like, we go to Tombstone and he's there with, and you can see White Rabbit. She's not very pleased. She does like Janice. Janice is gone. She's starting to worry. But she's worrying too much. And Tombstone says, you better shut your mouth. And we're going to go do these things. And then she starts getting on board. She's getting a promotion, he says. But the big thing is, and even at this point, I don't know, like, the big play was Tombstone saying at the beginning, if I join with you, I'll never be able to do anything again because, I joined with Spider-Man. That doesn't work with me. Because I've seen, times where, Fisk will do stuff. Yeah, because most people then would think, oh, my God, Tombstone, you're clever. You duped him. We know he duped him. Everybody knows that he duped him. There's no problem now. But then he says, there is a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill him in front of everybody because you said it before. Everybody wants to kill Spidey. But am I right, though, that he actually is, I think, even better suited with the idea of, I duped him. Hey, everybody, you think you're good, but I made Spider-Man. You all thought I was good, too, so go screw yourself. But yeah, at the end, and then the dreaded words that anybody reading the Zeb Wells run, not the end. Because, boy, it would have been nice if this was the end and we had already had some new team coming on, because he is not good. He is, at this issue, ends up pretty much just being a basic bitch, third grade level book. And just to end it, people just showing up because they never belonged in it anyway, but they were thrown in the tie-ins, so you have to throw them in, and obviously you have nothing for them to do except yell, hey, nice tech! Hey, look at you! Hey, the karate guys are here. And that's like, that was almost a line. Like, they throw the karate guys against the tanks. I'm like, get out of here. What would you give this?
I'll give it an extra half a point for my boy Spider Boy showing up. Then I'll take away half a point for Jackpot showing up. So there cancels out. I'll just do a straight 5 on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm.
It's underwhelming.
Yeah, it is. I didn't
disappointing
expect much.
really.
Actually, how was that? Because I know you didn't go into this thinking it was going to be great, right? So you already thought it was just going to be lame, and yet it's still underwhelming. It still wasn't even to get past that bar. Oh my God! And I'll tell you, I'll give it a half a point for Spider Boy, only because he doesn't say anything that crazy. even mentions that I should beast mode up, and, but,
Yeah.
okay. But I'll take a half a point away for, jackpot. But I will give a whole 7 points for Paul not being in it. And I still am only at a 4. That's the thing. I was negative before that.
Weird science
is the revolution.